I don't think college is a scam. So,
Okay.
and I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, but it's on all your shirts, so I would
Shirts.
assume you agree
well,
with that.
I did write a book. So how about this? What would you say is a scam?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of on you to tell me what the scam is because you're making the claim
Let's
here,
define
right?
what a scam. Can we agree
Oh
on
yeah,
what a scam is?
can you give me a
So,
definition first? Because you're the
how
one making the
about-
claim.
How about if 40% of your customers don't get the product?
Sure.
Is that a scam?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on like what your promise was when you gave the product in the first place, right?
Okay, so how about if you go to Chili's and 40% of your customers get food poisoning?
I kind of reject your equivalency here because you're saying that there's an actual necessary like return on what you're asking for when college in and of itself doesn't necessarily say that you're going to get this. There
No,
might
no.
be a hold
Hold
on,
on.
hold
I'm
on,
talking
hold on.
graduation
There might be a
rate.
cultural.
I'm talking about a graduation. So what is the national graduation rate?
I mean, you tell me.
59%. How many
Okay.
of you know someone that dropped out of college? Everyone hand goes up. Yes.
That's me.
41% of kids that go to college do not drop out.
Yeah.
What percentage of kids that graduate college get jobs that do not require a college degree 10 years after graduating?
I'm not sure.
Over half.
Okay.
So the degree is useless for over
Well,
half
I feel like
of the,
hold on.
Hold
You're-
on.
Hold on.
Over-
Wait. Hold on. You just spoke.
So
Let me.
no, debate
All right,
those two
fair
things:
enough.
graduation rate and whether or not a college degree is useful in the marketplace.
Well, I mean, you're kind of saying that like
Let me interject here for a second. 59% of people who go to college, they graduate from college. 41% of people who go to college drop out and do not graduate from college. That is a crazy statistic. I mean, those numbers are absolutely atrocious. The reason why I dropped out and the reason why most people drop out is because they realize way too late, in my case, that your degree is not going to make you the type of money eventually that you're going to want to make unless you put in mad hours, mad work, just to make $100,000, and then maybe, just maybe, if you're chosen in your field, you may get to go up and move up the ranks. That's just not good enough for me. I don't want to cap on my income. I want to come out the gate making $60,000, $75,000 a year. And for criminal justice with a minor in Spanish, that just was not the case. So I decided to, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and drop out. I'll go in sales, I'll perfect my craft, and then I'll be making a lot more money than if I graduated from college with my degree. Now, of course, I still have my student loan debts and everything like that, but just to hear those numbers put in perspective, it's just absolutely asinine. It's wild to me, but it's going to be interesting to see what this guy says in response, in rebuttal to Charlie Kirk.
because people aren't or like they're not, I guess, using their degree 10 years from like when they got it, that necessarily means that like college is useless. But you're kind of like forgetting, like if I do a job, right, like any of the people working here, right, they work for you maybe 2 years, work at Turning Point, right, they take skills that they learn with them to a new job. So not necessarily that they are using everything they learned at this job and then taking it to the next one. They could be just like doing something completely different. So you could say that maybe their work here was useless, but you probably wouldn't think that, right? I think it's kind of the same thing with college, except that like you might not necessarily use your degree, but you're using skills that you got at college for your next job. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to
but
use it in the future.
I want to make sure you're understanding what I'm saying. The job that they get does not require them to have a degree, so they could have gotten that job out of high school.
Sure, but like
So
what,
they could have got the skills without the
Well, I
$100,000
mean-
in debt.
you're kind of like skipping the midpoint here, right? Because like if you learn something and then don't necessarily like use it at your next job, that doesn't necessarily mean what you learned before was like useless.
Okay,
so
so
I think you're predicating this on like
what-
that college
what do
has
you
to be
learn-
something that you use in the future, right?
The vast majority of
Or the
students
ingredients, sorry.
that enter college, what do you think they learn that is most useful in the marketplace?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many things that you can use. You have interpersonal people skills. You have the ability to speak. You have communication classes where you learn how to.
I have to stop him. I have to be like, hey, hold on real quick. Because if you needed college for interpersonal relationship skills, then we would be walking around like chickens with our head cut off, not knowing how to communicate. Business wouldn't be thriving. However, if you go the sales route and you avoid college, you can develop those skills by yourself. There's cold calling, there's door knocking, there's a plethora of other things, online sales to get you comfortable and in the door. Sales is made to make you, break you, and to create those interpersonal skills that you need to survive in the world. Even if you don't stick with sales, you can still carry those skills with you day in and day out, night in and night out, and it can benefit you in more ways than not. I don't disagree that you do need college for some things. I just, as a whole, if you're outside of science, technology, engineering, and math, it gets very difficult to find a use for your degree, which is why most people say college is a scam, because guess what? Most people don't go to college for science, technology, engineering, or math. And the jobs that people are doing right now, you can get certifications from Google, you can get certifications from Udemy, you can go online. I mean, like, there's a plethora of things, including the things that I'm doing right now myself. CompTIA++, Security Plus for IT. You don't need a degree for that. You need a certification. And I can show you exactly where you get that certification. So yes, I'm not on his side. I understand where he's coming from. I just do think he's a little young to have this perspective. But nevertheless, let's get some more.
Make a speech like I'm doing right now.
So you think
have plenty of different
college
things.
is necessary to learn to give a speech, or
I mean,
interpersonal?
probably not necessary, but I don't really
so
know
it's
where
not
anyone
necessary. Okay.
Well, hold on, because my claim was never it's necessary. Your claim was that college is a scam, and I'm not saying it's necessary. You're just saying it's a scam. So you have to disprove that claim right now.
So a scam would be that if 10% or 20% of your customers do not get the value of what is being offered. For example, if half
okay,
of,
define value.
The promise that is guaranteed. So, for
What's
example,
the promise? Tell me the promise.
The promise for you go to Cal State Fullerton's website. It says achieve greatness.
So you can't achieve. So
Hold
like
on,
what? They're scamming people because they're not achieving greatness.
If you're going to interrupt me like every 10 seconds,
Okay,
this is
enough.
not much of a dialogue.
All right, that's
so
fair enough.
it's more of like a prosecution.
Okay, I got you.
That's fine. I'm happy to.
No.
Whichever
it's-
speed you want to go.
You're
at.
right. You're right. I'm sorry.
So you go to the website. It says achieve greatness to prepare students for the 21st century and an ever-evolving job market. According to statistics, half of graduates from this university will end up getting jobs of which they never had to go to college in the first place. They never had to get the piece of paper. They never had to go into debt, and they never had to spend 4 years here. If you went to United Airlines, if you went to a bank, and 10, 20, 30% of their promises were a lot different, or what they deliver were different than the promises of what they say, we would shut them down as a scam and saying they're lying to their customers. In fact, we do this all the time. We do this to websites that say, hey, take this pill and this supplement, and you're going to be XYZ stronger, or you're going to lose all this weight. We shut down industries all the time for misleading their customers. So, for example, my question for this, when you guys enrolled at this university, did you know that if you're studying sociology, more likely than not, you're going to end up in a job market where that piece of paper is not actually a factor in future employment? Was that part of when you signed up here? Did you know that?
That's an excellent point. And most people don't know that their degree or their piece of paper that they get is gonna be useless, because most of the jobs that we can get, if I wanted to be a correctional officer, like my degree with plan was stating out, I didn't necessarily need to go to college. I wasn't gonna get a pay raise or anything like that. I would still have to work my way up from the bottom to get up to that $60,000 a year. And according to the website, it's gonna take me 10 to 20 years to even get there. I did not read the fine print. I just chose one just for shits and giggles. And listen, that is my fault. So if you're asking me that if college is a scam, and I use the pretext and the numbers that Charlie Kirk gave me, if I was a website, if I was a supplement, if I was Chili's, and 40% of my customer base, 41% was unhappy, I would be a failure as a business owner, number one, and failure as a brand, number two, because I'm not advertising that you're gonna get what you want. Let me know if I'm tripping down in the comment section below. This is a great interview. This is something that we need more of, more debates, and I love Charlie Kirk. Again, shout out to that subscriber who suggested that I go over this video by Charlie Kirk. He's an excellent debater. He's an excellent speaker. Nothing but respect for him. And let me know again what you guys think down in the comment section below. Although I may think one way, you guys may have a different thought process on this, and we're gonna actually go more into this after July 28th, when we start getting more niche down in our educational content. But again, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I will holler at you guys later. Peace.